Let's roll.
All right, welcome to another episode of One Mic here in the RSG Network. Please go and check us out at realsportsguys.com. You can catch us up at Real Sports Guys at all platform. We got a pretty full show today, but we're gonna kick it off with the breaking news. Aaron Judge gets the bag. Was it 360 million with the Yankees? We all knew it was coming. Steinbrenner couldn't let it go. He couldn't let him leave town. He put together a great year. They need to figure out how to finish. But let me start, Hammer. I know you for us have done a lot with Inside the Park.
Yep.
And as we bring our guys on to do the show, this is breaking news. A lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You
heard it
know,
this morning. Yeah. I was
yeah.
driving. Yeah.
Does it? Where's it put him? I mean, one of the big issue, and you can't knock Aaron Judge. I mean, he did what he had to do this season, but their real
Mhm.
struggle was pitching, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yep.
so, you know, as you seen, would you say this is a good move, or should they let him just go back to home to the Giants in San Francisco, or was this worth the investment?
It's worth the investment because it's about the franchise's value. It's not about this is not a good deal baseball wise. He's on the
Yeah,
other side of 30,
yeah,
so it's not a good deal. But it's a good deal for the branding of the Yankees, and also, I mean, Cashman had to do this, or Hank should fire him today. He
yeah,
got extension, so he needs to deliver. So the bottom line is that he got the extension delivered, and there was a lot of mess talking about he was going to the Giants. Yesterday, in fact,
mm,
talking about the Yankees weren't going over 300 million. That's a bunch of junk. So, it's a so-called sports guys. We need a show over these cats because they up there putting up misinformation and talking about he's already in San Francisco and blah blah blah. And you get a breaking news this morning, score, you going to Yankees. I was like, bet. So the bottom line is that it's a good deal for. I think they'll get the 5 years out. It's like the Pujols' deal. That was
yeah,
too long, but you pay to play. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And somebody's going to pay him more. So the Yankees had to keep that cornerstone. He's going to be another kind of Derek Jeter, an icon of the franchise. He's African American too, which helps. Um, and so it's a great move as far as the value of the franchise. It's not a good move it's not a good move after 5 years. After 2027, this is going to be a declining return. But
yeah.
the bottom line is what you've done for me lately. And the main thing, the Yankees, you said they got to get over the top. And I'm stunned Aaron Boone survived. Old man Steinbrenner was there. He'd been long gone.
Yeah.
But he's got a little more patience. So yeah, I like the deal. I like the brother got paid. So yeah.
Yeah. I do, and he's productive, and it's up to other folks to step up. And as you said, they got to be creative around, finding, pitchers. I mean, the one thing about Hank is he's been fiscally responsible, right? But when you the Yankees, you got to go for it, and you got those folks, the Mets and their owner who's willing to drop top dollar. It doesn't mean that you're gonna win anything, but that you got to make the right investments. And Cashman, like you said, Cashman is on the hook with this along with Boone. I mean, it's time for them to make a run and serious chip. They got to do something with the pitching as well. So it's always good. But I knew he was gonna get his bag, and he bet on himself. We saw another player in Lamar Jackson who got hurt recently. He's betting on himself. So hopefully that'll play out. But for Aaron, for Judge, it paid out well. Let me bring my man in, Darnell. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Yeah, you hanging in there. You having like withdrawals now that you haven't been working with people in practice and everything else, coaching. Now you just focusing on the academics, trying to get them semesters closed out.
Yeah, the finals next week, so yeah, we gotta buckle in here, but we'll get it. We'll get it right.
You get it right. I feel you. I can hear it in your voice, man. I can hear it. I can hear it in your voice. Well, college football, they settled in. Things shook out. USC. I don't know what USC was doing, man. I was watching, man. Folks was crying. Keyshawn handled it well on Monday. My partner is got the doctoral from USC, but is a coach, and I have never heard we watch games and she went to coach speak. Take number 7 out. I mean, she didn't just say it. She didn't say it. She didn't say it in a voice of a fan. She said it as if she was the defensive coordinator upstairs, looking down at the field, and nothing was happening the way it was supposed to happen. I looked at her like I have never heard that voice. I mean, if you talking about somebody who is making some business decisions on the run game. I mean, there's a lot of cats on USC who are like, I'm not hurting my chance to go to the league. I'm not gonna make that tackle. I mean, Utah is, I mean, them some bullies on the block. And I heard I was listening to the show. I think it was Dominique had his podcast. Was it Foxworth or whatever? Had his podcast, and they're doing a thing on cliches, right? And one of them was, baby, talk about that team just has their number, right? I mean, Utah, boy, in the moments, boy, they was a bully on the block. You could have not have told me that USC was going to show up that way. Obviously, Williams got hurt and was struggling, but I mean, Darnell, let me talk to you. Like, if you're USC, they are ahead of schedule, right? In some ways, it's first year, but in some ways, that was a disappointing showing. In the way it happened. What's your reflection on that before we get into the teams that actually
it's
got
a
solid?
disappointing showing, but it's not a disappointing year. I mean,
Yeah.
they did outperform expectations, but at the end of the day, that was one of the worst displays of tackling I've ever seen. Like, I was watching the game. They refused, because like at first I was trying to give Coach Grinch the benefit of the doubt, and I was like, well, the guy, they're in position, they're just not making tackles. But then I was like, this is happening every other play, missed tackle, missed tackle, missed tackle. I'm like,
I mean, and a couple of them look like, you're with the cat, like look like he might pull up with a hamstring, almost like he don't really want to go in. I was like, at this point, y'all got to do something. And they was just bully on the block with it. But Utah, man, I mean, they're not having the consideration, but that program, I feel like, there's an arrow up. You got. I mean, they're already a stronghold in the Pac-12. With USC and UCLA going, they're really going to be that stronghold. We'll talk about another one in a minute when we get to the main part of our meet. That's probably going to be arrows going to be going up. And then TCU fell. And they lost in overtime. It was, they made a decision to try to go for the score rather than kick the field goal. And then they end up losing to K-State. Goes out and gets the field goal and everything else. Hammer, when you talk about TCU and in their performance and their momentum going in, they obviously, the committee stayed with them as the third team, with Ohio State being the fourth team playing against Georgia. I mean, what's your opinion about this TCU team? Obviously, the quarterback is getting a lot of praise for the way he helped them get back in, but what do you see about them as they come up to face Michigan? You think about that, a performance as K-State. Talk a little bit about that.
I mean, they're a resilient team. They've come back. They came back a couple times this year and won. And I think Sonny Dykes is finally at home. He was at Cal. He was a odd duck there, so that was a bad fit. And with his dad being obviously an icon at Texas Tech, he's brought that type of ball there and brought a winning culture. In second year at TCU, and so yeah, I think TCU definitely. If you look at the metrics, they deserve to be number 3. I think you look at pure talent. I think Bama obviously was up there, but you can't look at that. I mean, Bama lost 2 games, and that's just the criteria and the way the criteria is outlined. TCU deserves it, and they didn't deserve to slip either because they are only a 1-loss team. And K-State was a top 10 team, and they had one of the best schedules in the country. So. So I like what Dykes is doing. I think they're obviously, I haven't seen the betting line yet. I'm sure the prohibitive underdog against Michigan, but Michigan better not sleep though. Anybody's beatable.
Right now.
Sleep. Yeah. So the bottom line is that I don't think Michigan gonna sleep. I saw I saw a dog. They're Wolverines, but they play like dogs. Last week because that was a game, man. Like I said, I give crap. Harbaugh's brought swag and toughness to this Michigan team the past 2 years, and the bottom line with TCU is that they deserve to dance, and they're gonna have to show that they belong. And Max Duggan's a heck of a player. I think he should be the Heisman, but they're probably gonna give it to Caleb. But I think Dugan should get the Heisman, on Saturday. But he's a beast. So yeah, they went for the jugular. That's one thing. People say kick the field goal. Sonny ain't like that. Sonny ain't going for the jugular. So I give him credit, and it didn't hurt him anyway. They're playing with house money, so they were able to stay in there because USC messed up, and that's the bottom line. So
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Sonny, Sonny was like nothing for nothing is nothing, and he said he gonna just, I'm gonna try and see if I can knock it out. I think I'm playing with house money. I think he gambled on it. He was right. He really pushed they're not gonna screw us again. Basically,
yeah,
he's like, nowhere in the world they're gonna screw us again,
yeah,
and I'm just gonna go get this. Right, I'm gonna dare them. First, they said the last reason they screwed us, they said we didn't play the championship game, so we're here.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think
Comparison,
he
yeah,
knew he just play with house money. He can go and do it. And then Georgia was just Georgia, and I'm glad that Bennett is getting an invite to New York because I've
yeah,
been one of the few saying, this kid is not even be getting recognized the way he should be. So I'm glad he's probably not going to win it, but I'm glad he's at least going to be in the room. These Bulldogs, boy, they just do what they do. They just I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I mean,
No, I know
the
what to
beat
say.
down they put down.
Oh,
It's just they hit you with body blows. They like a boxer. Darnell, they like a boxer that just hits you with body and break you down. It's just to the point. It's almost like Crawford does to some people. Sometimes the fighters are not the same after they fight him, right?
I know what you're saying. They had this game produced one of the best pictures in sports history. I don't know if
oh yeah, when he picked
I
him
don't know
up.
if you can if everybody can see that.
yeah, no, it ain't no joke, man.
Jalen Carter picked
Yeah,
Jaden Daniels up.
yeah. Jalen Carter gonna make a lot of
He
money
picked
on
him up
Sunday.
with one arm, and the other
Oh, yeah,
arm
he beast,
he
man.
put the number one up. He said, "We're number one," and this is in the first half. He did this in the first.
Yeah,
It was kind of like
frightening, man.
that.
So
Frightening, man.
we gonna see how that all plays out, and then the Buckeyes was going to church. They were going to mass. They might have been messing with some witch doctors. They might have been calling Miss Rudolph from the skits for Richard Pryor, for all you Richard Pryor fans. I think they went to see Miss Rudolph, and they get in. But Njibwe sounds like he's not going to play
No, he's not playing.
He's
at
He's
not
all.
going
going
pro.
to.
He's
What's
going
wrong?
pro.
Like, what's wrong with him? Like I've been tracking. Like what's wrong?
Well, I've heard from what I've heard behind the scenes. Well, it's not official, but what I heard, the rumor is he withdrew from classes when he got hurt the second time because he came back and tried to play the Toledo game, got hurt, he left, and a couple weeks later he tried to play it in the Iowa game, and that injury, the hamstring injury, was supposedly worse than the first one. So he originally with like he stopped going to classes and stuff, and he was going to prepare for the draft. But now that they're in the playoffs, he's trying to come back, and he can't.
Oh yeah, they're
Because
not.
he's
Yeah, because now
ineligible.
you got to deal with people like what I used to be. So now you got to go see them assistant deans and
Yeah,
folks like that, and you don't have any. There ain't no cases to be made.
Mhm.
that's what I heard, but then
That makes sense.
it also cannot be true, you know.
But
Man.
it makes sense why it was because it seems so weird. But what you're saying makes sense, and that's part of the problem with how all this stuff is being handled, like the integrity of it. But you know, it's gonna bite. It came back to bite him because I'm like, that to me probably makes more sense. That explains a lot more than what's been
Mhm.
happening. Because I can see athletes doing that. Saying, look, let me get ready for the draft. Let me get out here to LA or whatever. I'm going to work out. And then all of a sudden he realizes, now the way people have mitigated in the past, especially with some of these campuses, is they would do remote classes and try
Mhm.
to do some other things, or maybe he's able to negotiate, a in some type of extension,
Mhm.
where he can go 8 weeks into the next semester. But if he hasn't been there, if the faculty of record is like, this cat ain't been here in 3 weeks, they're not going to even honor that. So yeah, so he probably ran into a whole bunch of stuff with that.
And as far as the hamstring, I heard he is healthy. I heard he's been training down the Exos with his agent, and like he could play if it
Yeah,
came
because it
down
just
to it.
seemed like an injury he couldn't come back from. So I was like,
Man, he had that tape in that bowl game last year. That's all he needs, man. And then do combine. That tape was ridiculous. That game was ridiculous. I was in my hotel room watching it because COVID was out there like a bad child. So I was in the hotel and I was like, he put on a show. I was like, this brother's bad.
Well,
This
I'll
brother's
say
bad.
this is that I think I got it right. The transfer portal is officially open and at a all-time high. And Alabama leaking. Talk to me like Alabama leaking, unusual leaking. What do you say?
Yeah. Oh, you heard the story with the offensive guard. He hit the transfer portal because he said, "Wait a minute." He said, "My backup is making more money than me, and he don't get in the game. So you going to have to fix this."
So he might come
I'm
back
out
to
to get some
Alabama,
more money.
basically. He might come back to
I'm
Bama,
getting up
basically.
out of here.
His backup
He
is
might come
making
back.
more money than
But then,
him. He said, "Forget this." See, what are we
because
dealing with?
you know how it works because
I
the
know,
way
but
recruitment works, they got to promise these dudes the NIL deals to get him on campus, and he was already on campus, so they didn't necessarily have to offer him that much money because he was already there. So and he's like, wait a minute, this cat is making this much money, and I'm way better than him. Well, I'm not way better, but you know what I'm saying. I'm the one that's contributing right now.
I
wow.
don't blame the
And
brother.
he hasn't given up a sack all season.
All season, yeah. Zero, bro.
Man,
You don't get paid by somebody.
the game has changed so much. I don't even recognize it anymore, man. Like we got so many starting quarterbacks, like cats who started in the portal. It's like ridiculous, and I'm like, what is happening here?
They going for the best deal and they going for the best situation,
Yeah,
man. They
but
have to maximize their value,
but
bro.
the
It's a
problem
business.
is the percentages who are finding scholarships is
Oh
very
yeah,
low. Like people don't understand. Like there's a lot
No, they
going out.
understand. They
But
understand. It's like, but the bottom line is
no,
that we're not. No, bro.
but
We talking about the high profile cats. They ain't 33%. Those are 90%. We talking about they got some Joe cats who we don't even know about. They transferring, and yeah, they ain't gonna get a scholarship offer because their scholarship was like get revoked where they were at.
Well, and also you got to factor in that that people are transferring that are on D2 programs, D3 programs that they don't offer full scholarships. So that could
that's part of it. But I think, when you look at the stats of Division I athletes, so it's not even counting those other levels, the percentages are low, and some of these students are accruing debt.
Yeah.
So when we talk about when we have these commercials about cats are going pro other than the sport they play, we'll talk about this a little bit with Dion. This game has changed in such a way that people are also being put at risk. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that response happens. And some of these kids aren't realizing what they're moving from to. So they don't even know the impact of, Hamburg. If you graduate from Wisconsin,
Yeah.
you stand in the middle of Red Square with a Wisconsin Badger shirt on, people gonna come up to you, they know you. Like there's some pieces that they're not considering when they're doing this stuff. But the bottom line is that some of these cats, like you had cats last year who were starters, left, thought they were gonna start a position, ended up on the depth chart, and before the start of the next of the season, left again to another one, and still not
Look at
started. Like
Slovis.
it's so unhealthy.
Slovis.
Yeah, it's like
JT
we are
Daniels transfer every year
we're letting the cart do everything. So it's gonna be interesting to see how at a certain point folks are somebody starts suing something gonna come out of this in ways that people that better track with some of this stuff. So it's already gonna be interesting. But there's a lot of cats in the portal, man, and it's one of those things where I mean when I saw the stuff happen with Alabama, so you gave the backstory. I'm like, I think Saban gonna be out of here in 2 years.
Yeah, 3
So I think
years. That's
Saban can put up with one of them. I think Saban's okay with either the portal or the NIL, but I think too much of this stuff is just driving him crazy. I mean, he was on the air last week lobbying. I thought he was the third candidate in Georgia. I thought we had Warnock. I thought we had
Herschel.
Herschel, and then we had Saban. I mean, he was on
Yeah.
air. I thought he was running for office. I mean, you could tell that cat is not going to be here long on this. So we'll have to see. But when you look at the percentages of it, this is looking at some of these things in 3 or 4 years, there's going to be some responses to this. And if you're at an institution trying to deal with this at the semester break, the amount of problems it causes at the semester break, if you're on campuses, I mean, I've had to watch this stuff up close and personal. It's tough, and so what you might see, even people really pushing back on this notion of kids transferring in the spring, or really thinking about that. It's going to be some evaluation about it, but there's going to be
There needs
something
to be
that's going to be
national
looked at.
legislation, man. I mean, it's
Huh?
a free for all. It needs to be national legislation. It's a free for all.
Yeah.
It should be federal.
Yeah.
It's a free for all to have it state by state.
Yeah.
I mean, it's federalism run amok, basically.
Yeah.
And you need to have a uniform system
Yeah.
from the feds, so you don't have this chaos.
Yeah.
And you need some type of regulation of these NIL deals too, because it's just beyond shady. Like you said, the backups you ain't even see in the field getting paid more than the brothers. They ain't giving up no sacks.
Yes.
So you gonna bounce, because you like this cat is not even breaking a sweat, and he making more money than me. And I'm put out there, put my butt on the line, and injury, and I'm still balling.
And
So
some of these cats so gangster, there might be some extortion on that.
True.
You talking about me? You know what I'm saying? Am I? I'm not saying don't be surprised.
No, I'm not surprised at all, man. It's gangster time now. When the Supreme Court made the NIL, I was like, okay. I mean, because the bottom line is that they're free market cats. So this is a free market. But hey, when you have an uncontrolled free market, you got a lot of social Darwinism coming in, and that means a lot of cats are gonna get hurt.
Yep.
You have some cats are gonna get paid, but you have a lot of cats that get that 67% you talked about.
Yep.
They're at home with debt.
Yep.
Or they on the street corner talking about I used to be this and all that mess. You know what I'm talking about? JoJo on the street corner talking about he was the best baller there was, and I was like, bro, where you are now? You in the corner. So be quiet. That was the pass.
Speaking of Alabama,
be quiet.
Speaking of Alabama, I think they're also gonna purge their wide receiver room a little bit. And some of those guys, I know Trayshawn Holden, he plays, but some of the other guys that were in the portal, they don't play. Like JoJo Earl was a big name coming out of high school. He gets in every now and again, but he's not a big player on the team. And the other one, Christian Leary, he rarely comes in either. And Alabama's going to hit that transfer portal heavily, and they're going to be bringing in some big wide receivers. So I think that's
they had before.
Yeah, I mean, it's you already heard Saban already. When he went after Texas A&M, even though it didn't pay off for them. We'll see how that goes, because he's gonna have something to say. And Georgia is, Georgia's locking in, and that's gonna be. And here comes Tennessee.
And Georgia didn't take anybody in the portal last year.
Nah, but because they're holding on. They're holding on to people, right? They don't have to. So that part is they getting continuity, right? And then LSU is not gonna be far behind. He gonna get his act together down there. So it's in Auburn. Y'all got Auburn. Is gonna be so. It's gonna be interesting to see how Saban responds to this over the next couple of years, and whether or not
I think he's gonna respond retirement. That's what he's gonna respond to.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, he don't like the system, and also I've talked to sources. They know Alabama's job will be open in 3 years, and Cats position themselves for it right now by getting new jobs. Hint. At big five, at Power 5 schools, they had interim coaches that didn't work out. I'll leave it at that. So,
well, that one will be part of our future conversation, because we're gonna dig deep in that, because we already been in in our text messages around some of these things, and so that will be part of our conversation as we get really deep into that bowl season conversation in the next couple of weeks. All right, well, let's get to the heart of this discussion today. Coach Prime heading to Colorado. There's a number of reactions. Great discussion. One person that's kind of getting some reaction is Bomani Jones in terms of his appearance on CNN and his position as someone who grew up around HBCUs, as a product of HBCUs. But I think if you listen to the CNN conversation and not really, I had a chance to listen to his podcast and along with Howard Bryant, who's an excellent journalist and reporter.
Yeah.
I mean, they took a real deep dive into what this departure means and what it means. Now, let's start with the point is, look, Prime he should have the right to do what he needs to do. So, and wish him well and whatever he does in Colorado, but there was a lot of discussion around Prime when he came. And I think one of the interesting things when I listened to the podcast, because it kind of really took me back to the moment, is that, Prime's real rise to this came out of post George Floyd. And his discussion, as it became more and more discussion about the importance of HBCUs, was part of that framework. And in fact, I think, I don't know if it was Howard Bryant that put it, was I think most people, saw him, as someone who was going to carry on the legacy of, of a Coach Robinson in that framework, because that's how he came in and framed it. And so I think a lot of it was that reaction to that was how it was framed. It only became, once it got later a success, obviously, he had the 60 Minutes interview this year, which was 2.5 years in, that the conversations began to come around if a Power 5 deal came, but that wasn't how it was framed. And so there were a number of reactions. So that was kind of how I came to the conversation. And then our text message group blew up. Hammer had his a position. I know Darnell had it. We kind of all talked about it. And so I want to just kind of get into a conversation a little bit here. I know, Hammer, I'll start with you because I know you got a position, you got a reaction to how people are reacting to Prime going to Colorado. I'd like you to even be able to talk a little bit about that.
The haters. Just I'm gonna just call it the haters. In plain and simple, Prime done more for HBCUs in 3 years than been done 50 years, especially for Jackson State. Last time Jackson State was relevant was Walter Payton was there. That was in the mid-'70s. So Prime has given people a blueprint to revive HBCUs. They should study that, the 3 years he did, and he'd be boo-boo the fool to be turning down Colorado. Colorado has won national championships. So the infrastructure is there to win a championship. And it's a brilliant move because, especially with USC and UCLA leaving, the Pac-10 is primed, pun intended, to be picked by Deion. So, I mean, I don't, especially something like Bomani, who, I get a brother credit. He's promoted brothers for many years, put him on the, Howard Bryant's a good brother. Used to be on that talk show, Sports Reporters. These are guys that have helped brothers through, again, the trials, travails of being a black journalist in America. And they're going to blast a brother for, again, looking at opportunities. He probably came there, yeah. He thought that he's going to be Eddie Robinson. That was his protege. But, again, you see things.
But I want to make a point, though. This is why I say it's important to listen to this interview, because he did say, I don't knock him for doing it, right? So let's not say he was blasting on opportunity. What he was talking about, he was talking about his push was for what he perceived to be important for HBCU. So he did say, hey, it's hard to turn down that money. So I want to make sure we frame Bomani right.
Oh, but again, though, why put the negativity in it, though? I mean, I agree. Again, I agree what he said about he should take the job, but it's like,
because that wasn't what job. But you got to be real. Pretenses. If you're gonna make that wasn't what Prime was. That wasn't what Prime's message was when he came there. Like
messages
that wasn't
changed,
his message,
man.
brother.
Message changed.
His message was, "I'm gonna be the next Eddie Robinson." That was his
Message
message.
changed. Message changed. He
No,
thought
when
he
he
was
said
going to be.
when he first
He
got
thought he
there,
was going to be.
he
Now he
said
wants to be.
he
Go
said
ahead,
I'm
go ahead. Go,
coming here.
Darnell, jump in.
Go ahead.
He
Darnell,
said I'm
jump in.
coming here because God sent me.
Yes.
This is Deion's word. He said God sent me to come here to save the HBCUs.
Yes.
God, and he said God sent him to Colorado.
Come on, no,
Too.
man. Come
He
on.
did.
Come on.
Because he went to bottom line. We Christ believers here. He wouldn't have gotten a job but for God, right? Am I
No,
right? He wouldn't have the job but for God,
I'm gonna
right?
say this. I'm gonna say this.
No, but you're not answering my question.
I'm gonna say this.
You answer my question.
No.
He wouldn't get the job but for
I'm
God,
gonna
right?
say this. I'm gonna
Here's the
say
guy. Here's
this.
the guy.
God
Not
don't
all
like
of them
ugly.
believe
This guy,
that.
I'm
I'm
a
gonna say
blind
God
leg.
don't like
I'm a
ugly.
leg,
I'm
man.
gonna say that.
He got
But I'm
two
gonna say
toes.
this.
He lost 2 toes.
No. I'm gonna say this. But Monty's point was from the beginning about Deion was that his theory was this is the only way Deion could make this track to being a head coach because he wasn't going to be assistant coach on any a person's roster. This was a maneuver for him to be able to it worked, right? So and the thing about it is the effect is a Deion effect. People can't replicate that. Like you can't replicate a Deion effect. Like
Shoot, I know a name that can.
who?
Cam Newton.
Oh, Cam can.
Possibly, yeah.
If he
Cam
decide to
can,
go.
yeah.
Can.
The brother went
quiet as
to
kept,
the
Cam has his
house.
own 7-on. He does the 7-on-7. He's huge down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He has his own youth stuff going on. So if there's a name, he already has the pipeline. Like Cam can do that.
Yeah. Cam should go to Jackson State. Real talk, yeah.
He might have to do it.
He kill it there. He kill it there.
So yeah, I do think. I mean, and it did raise a little bit of issues about, you know, I think Howard talked a little bit about, you know, there's this tension between because you know the original focus of HBCUs has always been about education. Sports has been a part of it, but it's not been this kind of thing, and that part needs to be continue to be the focus of it. So I don't want to make it too much of it, but it's a mechanism, and I think they're, you know, as they talked about on it, you know, even before Deion decided to go to Jackson State, applications were increasing to HBCUs. Without him, there was already interest post Floyd, so that part was there. I just think that you can't. It's hard to replicate. I mean, you name Cam, but it's hard to replicate what Deion did, and I think people were looking at that as this might be an opportunity to galvanize, not to really challenge. I don't think you really can challenge Alabama. I don't think you can challenge Georgia. I mean, those historical structures, you know, they got hundreds. They got too many years ahead of you. But you can create a competitive environment which people see a pathway to the next level. I think that could be a value added for it. And I think part of the thing with Deion is you can never time these offers. So I think, Hammer, you're right. But I think if it had been after his 5th year, I think it'd be a different reaction. I think
and we learned from COVID, man. You gotta get yours.
You can't
yours
time the
now.
offers,
Get yours now, man. You gotta get yours now.
You're saying you can't time the offers, but Colorado is not necessarily a particularly good job.
I think that's the part. Go ahead, Darnell. Darnell, raise that point. Go ahead. Like
this is a terrible football program that he's taking over for. And 5 years from now, Colorado might not be open, but you know what? Illinois might be open.
Yep.
Well, that means it's on the same level. I don't know why I said Illinois, but you know what I'm saying? A different program might be open. Florida State might be open. Miami might be open. You know, you never know what other schools might be open. Like the carousel, they're jobs that open up every year. And jobs that are on the caliber of Colorado, if not better. You know what I'm
saying? And one of the things that Bryant raised that I've raised in the chat is, I mean, on one side, Colorado's hired a couple of black coaches, but other side, Colorado's not been a great place for black players. I said, I'm like, there's some things that you was able to do at Jackson State. It ain't gonna fly in Colorado in a predominantly white institution. So it's gonna be interesting. That dynamic is different. And
no, McCartney had that dynamic on, like they were a championship ball club.
Yeah, but that's McCarthy
again.
And so who is he? That's Bo Schembechler's guy.
Yeah, but
that's a different.
Deion's got the type of charisma that he can. And you're in Colorado, which is a great place. Just keep it real. Legal marijuana.
Let's talk about the history of Boulder. Like Boulder has not been I know.
again, it can
I know.
be turned into the type of place because Prime is going to be able to do what he's going to do. He's going to be able to bring a culture there
Now,
of
did I send you that 30 for?
inclusivity.
I told you about the 30 for 30 Fab Five,
Yeah,
right?
you know,
With
it's
them
30
letters
for
coming
30
in,
for
right?
Fab Five,
Now,
true. But
there's certain cultural elements that fly at Jackson State that don't fly in Boulder. You and I know that.
man, things can change. But again, Boulder had number of brothers in the 80s, and Sally Unissi had what was he? He was Samoan, right? I mean, he had McCartney had much. This team, and I disagree. You can win
how
you
they
can
work,
win
how they were
championships in
working in
Colorado.
the
You
okay.
got the West Coast, you got the Texas pipeline. Deion's got the South now. You're gonna bring Southerners to Colorado. They got the legal weed there. Let's keep it real. That's gonna be a big attraction to people. And the main thing is that you got Prime, who's got major
Denver's
contacts.
different than Boulder, though, dog. Denver's different than Boulder.
I know it is.
Okay, I
But
just
my
want to make
point,
sure
but my
we
point is,
correct.
it's a wonderful college town.
It's a
And again,
wonderful college town,
and you have,
depending on
and
how
again,
you talking about it.
you can thrive there. I mean, again, if you get the right environment, and I think he's going to get the right environment, like he did Jackson. He's going to get the right boosters. He's going to get the people. Like look what he did with the young man at Jackson State. They got jackets for him.
Yeah, but that's a different cultural context, man.
Man,
Come
again,
on, man.
culture can change. Culture can change.
Come on, man.
Culture can change, man.
Hammer,
culture can change.
You sound like Rocky.
Like culture can't
you sound
change.
like Rocky and Rocky. Was
No,
that Rocky
no,
4?
like Rocky.
If you can
Did you ever
change,
think?
I can
So
change. We all can change. Is that what you're telling me?
Do you ever think a black divorced preacher would be a senator?
I believe in
in
that.
Georgia?
You know, I believe in that. But I'm saying certain
come on
elements.
now. You ever think Obama was going to be? The culture can change.
But Obama still had a different presentation on that. Like, come on, man. Like,
and
listen,
so Warnock
like
does too.
even his opening stuff that he did, which I thought was brilliant. Look, I'm a Prime fan, so I'm gonna put it like this. But even his opening stuff to the people in the locker room, you know, there's people in that campus struggling with that. You know, you and I know that.
Yeah, they are, but they
faculty,
get over it.
Whole bunch of people.
Unless
you
Deion
feel me?
loses, I feel you. But if Deion wins, they got nothing to say. If Deion loses,
that's what I'm saying. He better win quick.
It's like Fickle. He better win quick too.
Certain elements are not going to work.
Yeah, he better
like they
win
worked
quick.
at Jackson State.
He better win quickly. Yeah,
I'm just trying to say that.
Like I said, with Mel Tucker was what 5 and 7. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
But Mel knew something. How long did Mel stay?
1 year and
right.
dip.
Mel knew something. Now,
Mel was lucky because Fickle everybody turned the job down. You know, because the Michigan State job down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michigan State had other problems at the time.
Yeah. What you say?
Yeah, they were having problems at the time.
Michigan State had other problems at the time. That was coming out off of the Nassar stuff.
Nassar stuff.
Yeah.
But I still would take the job. I was Fickle. I was stunned he didn't take the job. I was like, he must be moving the forward.
But I'm saying that you can't just drop in Boulder and think it's going to replicate itself.
And that's why I'm build a culture,
and that's the criticism. Hammer is the point that Darnell just made. Is I think if he had left to go to Florida State, there'll be some backlash. People understand. If he had left to go to Mississippi State, folks probably wouldn't understand.
They ain't firing Leach, man.
Right? You know what I'm saying? But he leaving to go to Boulder. I think that triggers something. And for all reasons,
it shows smart because he's gonna build it
you
from
and I
scratch.
had a conversation. I was like, I can understand why he would do it for all the reasons you and I just said from a strategic standpoint. But it's still Boulder didn't end up this way overnight. There's something in the system. Even the fact that they had to free up the transfer. Like, why are we freeing up the transfer stuff? Y'all didn't know y'all need to let students transfer in? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's somebody was creating something, right? That hasn't quite gone away.
Administration's raggedy. That's the problem.
That's what I'm saying. And you and I know.
But Rick George made an excellent hire here, and he better support him. That's the bottom line. And then Deion, you'll have to support himself because he knows the haters. People want him to lose. Brothers, sisters, white folks, the haters out there. They want him to lose. They want him to be back on TV like Herm Edwards is right now. That's what they want him to be. They want to be back on ESPN on NFL Network. Because I ain't gonna lie. I was watching Prime all the time. Anytime Prime was on there, I was on my TV, looking at the TV. Like I said, staying up late at night, sacrificing sleep. I had to see me some Prime. That was primetime TV.
Well, Darnell, from a recruitment standpoint, in some of would you Where do you say he is? You know, in terms of like, you know, you seeing stuff happening. You know what you're thinking about, who's coming that way. You know, how is, I know you've been paying attention to a lot of these things. How do you think Prime is set right now for getting out the gate?
Well, Prime can sell water to a fish, and
Break it down.
so
Break it down.
from what I've heard is
Break it down.
not Jackson State, but Colorado has received over 200 inquiries from students in the transfer portal. So they're gonna be able to pick.
All right.
Yeah, like I was saying, Dion, he can sell water to a fish. He's not gonna have any problem recruiting. This is a guy. I've heard that Colorado has received over 200 inquiries from students in the transfer portal about transferring to Colorado. So he's gonna have no problem getting talent to Boulder. But another thing, I think he has a 4-star receiver coming from IMG Academy coming to Colorado. So that's just showing that, and he's only been the coach of Colorado for like 3 or 4 days now. So and you're already starting to see movement. So I think he's not gonna have too much of an issue recruiting.
You got head coaches going down to OCs.
Kent State.
I mean, yeah, and then he got NFL head coaches going down to college DC. So, I mean, you know, he's selling. I mean, Zimmer's a great defensive mind. He ain't no good coach.
That's he's. I mean, you talking about somebody who's made to be a coordinator. That's
it's him. Yeah. It's like Jimmy Leonard. You know, made to be a coordinator.
Don't get me in that. Don't be.
I don't know if we want to go. We
ain't going there right now.
Okay, well, you being emotional.
You being
emotional.
I love Jimmy, man. But
that one right there, you easily gonna be proven wrong on. So I'm not even gonna debate you on that.
I agree.
You easily gonna be proven wrong on that one.
Yeah, I can't say easily.
You need to go on and get your Anita Baker music already up. I apologize.
Yeah, give me the best I got. Get your voice right. Give me the best I got. Yeah.
You about to get. I apologize.
Giving me
that's about where you're gonna go. But
that's what I'm gonna give me the best I got. Not no four stars.
Now I'm not gonna say coming from the pros to the college necessarily translates. So I don't. Zimmer.
Disagree.
We're gonna see how that works.
Disagree. He'll scheme it up. He's one of the best defensive minds in football.
Yeah, but it's different dealing with grown men versus dealing with college students.
Man, with this NIL stuff, they've been grown quick. I'm gonna tell you.
But they're different. They fickle, man.
The harsh reality. The harsh realities.
They fickle. I don't know if I would have gone got Jim Leonard.
The harsh realities of this portal. Man.
He probably should have got Jim Leonard.
No, Jim. There's a reason why Jim's staying. The reason why Jim's staying through the bowl game. He going to the Packers, bro. He going to the Packers.
So
right now. He going to the
Packers. Go ahead. What'd you say?
What part of coordinating the defense from the NFL don't you think translates to college football?
I think for me it's not. I don't think it's like the X and O's. I think it's the way in which you're dealing with young players. I mean, high school, college players. I just think it's a different group. I don't think he's not smart. I don't think he has all that. I just dealing with grown. Some people can do that. He might prove to do that, but some of the frustration I think people come from pros.
These are grown men now, D. Wills.
These are not grown men. Yes, they got grown man bodies, but developmentally, they still got.
This NIL stuff at the same time, you got to realize with college football, they're dealing with. I might be wrong, but they're dealing with more practice time. Like there's a lot of restrictions and stuff with the NFL as far as how much time you can get out there and stuff.
To the union,
in college, you have a lot more time. So like work with them and stuff. So I think,
I still think it's the interpersonal dynamics. What makes Prime so good is his ability to be old school yet connect with these young cats. Not everybody can do that. Zimmer might be able to do it. I think he's an engaging guy, but it's gonna be. I'm gonna watch that one.
Man, I'm gonna watch that one. It's gonna be a show. Like I said, I can't wait. Colorado TCU opening game. You know it, don't you? Colorado TCU, opening game for Dion.
Yeah, he better get his popcorn
ready. He gonna bring it, bro.
Yeah,
he gonna high step.
There's a lot to build. Like this ain't like hoop. This ain't like hoop. You just pull together going. You still gotta build some chemistry.
He gonna bring. He gonna bring a bunch of. Like I saw his Badger game last night. You saw these transfers they bring in, dude.
Yeah,
You talk
but
about
it's still
200
football. They
inquiries.
all got to come
Basically,
together.
it's gonna be like he gonna be picking players, bro.
Yeah, but they all
200
still got to come
inquiries.
together.
I agree, but I think
Yeah, I mean,
Prime he brought Jackson State together in
yeah,
3 years.
but understand. But I think you could do that. I mean, I think he's gonna be successful, but
Yeah,
we got to
he
slow
going
our
to
roll on
NFL.
you.
He
Just gonna
going to
come in and
NFL,
beat
bro. He going
TCU.
to NFL, bro.
You might not.
Man, I think you might.
These other coaches coach
because
too.
Dugan's gone. Dugan ain't coming back.
Yeah, but Sonny's still a good coach.
He's a good coach,
Yeah,
right.
and TCU is still a good program. It's still been
It's still
good.
a good
So
program.
it's
Yeah,
not
always
it's
been a
not
good program.
like they're just gonna come in here and roll over.
No, I'm gonna roll over, but I'm
Yeah, but
saying
you still gotta get these kids to play the right way.
yeah, he
I'm
gonna
not
play the
saying that he's not gonna be successful, but there's gonna be some stumps along the road. Ain't nobody just laying down.
Yeah, I agree, but
I mean,
yeah,
he got the other dog on the other side too. Utah,
yeah,
them grown men over there.
that's true.
Them grown men over there. Okay,
That's
we just gotta
true.
make sure them some grown men over there too.
There's a girl man over there
So
too.
yeah, I think and the USC coach has been winning at a high level for a long time and took the beat down.
Yeah, well, he ain't no
Right,
defense. He ain't got no
right.
defense.
So
I put that loss to Alex Grinch in his locker. That's why I put it in his office.
well, all right.
He
Well,
need to go.
we will be tracking this.
His key card should not be working. He'd not be working at USC next week. It should be like that Hard Knocks. That Hard Knocks. That brother kept on doing the key card. That should be Alex Grinch.
all right. We gonna monitor the situation. I'm sure we got a lot to talk about it. We will revisit the Wisconsin situation in a future one. I just don't have the stomach for it today, but we'll get back to it.
I can't drop the
Maybe
mic
the
on
next couple weeks.
Wisconsin. I can't drop the mic on Wisconsin. I can't drop the mic on Wisconsin. I'm man. It's your
Huh?
show, bro. You tell me. This
Well,
your show. You tell me now.
we'll talk.
I respect the host.
No,
You tell me not to say it.
we'll talk
You want
about
me to
it.
park it? I'll park it.
We'll park it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it at a certain point.
Because I was invited by
I think we
you. I was
exhausted.
invited by you 3 years ago to parlay with my brothers here. So I'm gonna respect my brother. Especially, we had a great time. Not to go off tangent, but thank you for inviting me to Rock Vegas, man.
Yeah.
That was wonderful, bro.
Oh, we had a good time watching some football.
You need to bring Darnell down there, man. You need to come down from Michigan, man, and come to Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Come to Rockford, man.
Yeah.
Man, and see some real people.
Yeah, it was
like
good,
I said,
good time.
I feel at home in Rockford, man, because I'm with my people.
Yeah,
my peoples.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm with. My peoples.
We had a good time watching football and hanging out and watch it all come together. So it was good.
Yeah, congratulations Mo on his engagement, my man Mo.
Yep.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah.
Congratulations to my man Mo. Yes,
sir.
So we now we need to get you back in this.
That's what's up.
Now we're getting back on this sponsorship side, Mo. So I'm gonna be giving you a call. So we'll be talking about that next year. All right, we're gonna drop it. We'll start with you, Hammer. I'll go and then we'll end with the youngin. I like ending with the young folks.
Yeah. Again, this week was a sad display of haters. I'm tired of these haters all around the country hating on Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders did his job at Jackson State. He put them back on the national map. First time they've been since Walter Payton, the great late Walter Payton was balling at Jackson State. And the bottom line is this ain't indentured servitude. Prime deserves to coach where he wants to coach. Yarborough won him. He won Colorado. And we're going to see a great, great history. It's histrionics and great theater at Boulder. He might not win. But I think he's going to win. Because I see what the Sean Lewis hire is brilliant. Max Zimmer, Willie Taggart. And then, as Brother Darnell said, 200 cats want to be on your squad, and you got 15 scholarships?
85.
85 scholarships. Excuse me. Yeah, a bunch of walk-ons. So basically, the bottom line is that he's going to be able to pick about the best of the pack, about 40% of the pack. He's going to win. And like I said, I put on this TCU going down week 1 against Colorado. And like I said, it's prime time. Peace.
All right. 2 years ago, everybody wanted to run Jim Harbaugh out of Ann Arbor. And he's back at it again. Second year in a row, doing his thing. Those Wolverines are showing up. It's going to be a tall task, TCU, and then if they are able to, most likely, I think they might end up playing Georgia if they do make it. But Harbaugh's put together a little run here, 13 wins, most in the I think in the school's history. You know, I didn't know if he was going to make it here. Somebody grew up in Ann Arbor. I was like, ooh, it might be gone, but he somehow turned it around, and I got to congratulate him in the program and getting it back in as a person who put in that little junior Wolverine helmet. So I can appreciate it. And the only time you might hear me say it, but I'll say it: go blue. Drop the mic. All right, Darnell.
All right. After much prayer and consideration, I thought I've come to the conclusion that if the Heisman Trophy is supposed to be awarded to the best player in the country, I believe that Jalen Carter should be in New York. We from watching the
Crazy.
SEC championship game, I
Crazy.
seen a guy absolutely wreck a game, and not just the SEC championship game, but we've seen it all year. And I believe he is one of the best 4 players in the country. I don't know if anybody else agrees with me, but
I agree with
hey,
you. Shoot, I agree with you, no doubt. And hopefully, he's a Chicago Bear. That's what I'm hoping. He's a Chicago Bear, man. That's what I'm hoping.
yeah, I want him and Darnell Washington to be Detroit Lions. We got 2 first-round picks.
He ain't getting past us, bro. You forget about it. He ain't getting past us. We need
Hey,
him.
it's okay if we don't get Jalen Carter. We'll settle for Will Anderson.
I'll take Jalen Carter all day. We need him. He'll wreck up he'll be that corner, that piece of the defense.
All right, we're not gonna run another segment, y'all. We'll say that for next one. So make your point.
Yeah.
No, that was my point.
That's it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I concur.
The Heisman should be for the best player, not the best offensive player or quarterback. And given that, he should be having some consideration. Well, hey, y'all, catch us on realsportsguys.com, on Real Sports Guys, on all other platforms. Thank y'all for being with us. It's been a joy. We'll see you on the other side.